you can definitely take the person to court. And if somebody creates a social media page for you, remember that if you do not have any contract saying that, oh, create it for me and I'm going to pay you or it's going to be free, the person can say, well, I created it for you. I created the password and everything. You allowed me to use your name. And that was the agreement between us, and the person can take over the page. So it's important for you to look at the future and for you to have at least some form of control over some of the accounts which are created in your name. And it's very key for us to know exactly what to do and to do it in the right way.
I hope you are enjoying my session here with lawyer Adugu. He's well vexed in what he's saying. Social media, we all use it. You're obviously watching this on a social media platform. You are using the internet, whether you like it or not. The fact that you are not posting something doesn't mean that you are not a consumer. You are reading online. You do not post anything by yourself, but you are watching, reading, and all sort of things. You are watching TV and all type of media. So the second part, let's get into this part and let's see if we can learn something more. Can you share this video with everybody? My name remains Priscilla Kumah, and this is the first hot seat of season 2.0. Andrews, please, let's go.
Thank you very much, Priscilla, for this second part of your interview. Just a recap of what we've been talking about in the first part, or what we discussed earlier in the earlier session. We talk about extortion. We talk about issues of copyright, that when you take somebody's material, you have to attribute it to them. There's a moral right, there's economic right. We talk about generally plagiarism. We also talk about the likelihood of you being punished for publishing obscene materials. In this particular session, we'll be talking about data protection, and we'll zoom in a lot more into some issues of privacy and how to handle when you have a case of an abuse or an attempt to hack your account and stuff like that, what you should do as the provision of the law for your safeguarding.
You have the floor, Andrew.
Great. So one key thing we need to understand is that the internet is for us, it's for our good. Now, you can find good materials on the internet, you can find bad materials on the internet. So I would want to center on verification. Now, one key thing people forget is that when you see anything on the internet, it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So somebody says something about some other person, or this person has bought a house, and the house he bought, he got it from corrupt practices, or he stole to build a particular house. Then you go ahead making a video, do a commentary over it, and saying, yes, that person has stolen. You are opening yourself up for a defamation suit. You are definitely opening yourself up for a defamation suit. So that's one key thing we need to understand. So you just don't see anything and make a video about it and publish it. If you publish anything untrue about the person can take you to court, and you may be slapped with huge amounts that you're supposed to pay in damages. Yeah. So verification, check. And if you're not very sure about it, you may just indicate that it's unverified, right? And even that, you have to be careful even saying that it's unverified, because sometimes you can just see a clear intent by the person that this is the message you want to put out, and want to put out a disclaimer, and the disclaimer does not even work very well. So one of the key things you need to watch out is that before you publish anything about anybody, before you write anything about anybody, before you say anything, before you forward anything about anybody, verify. And for those who are journalists and people who work in the media space, is one key thing that we know, verification. So if you're not too sure, you have opportunity to verify. So that is just one aspect. Defamation is one key thing that can be used against you. Now, another thing I want to talk about is data protection. So your work involves you having access to people's data. Your work involves you having access to people's information. For example, Priscilla, you are a nurse. You have the opportunity of getting to know people's health records. The law does not allow you to publicize that. The law does not allow you to let the whole world know what is wrong with somebody. So you see an accident, you see somebody is lying somewhere, and the person is being treated or any other thing, going through a health condition. You cannot publish that information. You can't publish that information. It is wrong for you to publish somebody's health records. But there may be an emergency. Yes, you are allowed within the circumstance to say, okay, there's an emergency here. Can we get people to come and help? That's it. But beyond that, you can't publish the information. You are not allowed to publish the records, whatever disease or whatever condition the person is suffering, you are not allowed to publish that. Now, for those who also get people's data, you go to a certain place, they ask you to sign and probably provide your phone number and others. You cannot, the Data Protection Act of Ghana requires that people who have access to such data, such information, keep them safe. They are not allowed to publish those data without the consent of the persons involved. So if anybody takes your data and publishes it without your consent, the person is going against the law.
That just explains, anytime we buy something online, our credit card system, you put your credit card numbers in the thing online, and you see a disclaimer pop up saying that they will not be using your information for anything else. So you can safely go ahead and punch it in. And that is a big deal, because if you let somebody's credit card details go out, you're doomed. Your business is done for life. So, yeah, exactly.
So even with all these data requirements and all these information that we are talking about, just as I said, you can be traced. Yeah. So once you are traced and you don't do what is right, you're going to probably put yourself in trouble. So it's very, very important that you make sure that whatever thing you are giving out, you have the express, at best, written consent, not even oral consent of the person. And you have people just giving out information, just saying anything, and people also divulging conversation, personal conversation. If I have a personal conversation with you and I don't want it to go out, you can't record that conversation and publish it. It is wrong. If I have a chat with you, you cannot publish that chat that I had. It was a private chat. You can't screenshot it. And because you're angry with me, come and show it to the whole world. You are breaching the person's privacy, because it wasn't meant for public discussion. It wasn't meant for being open to the public about it. So those are things we should watch out for.
Yeah. Do you know that if people know that if somebody shares your private conversation, I can take a legal action? Do the layman walking around know this information?
Yes, I mean, quite a lot of people take certain things for granted. So it's important for us to let people know that if I have a chat with you and I intended that I should be private, it remains private. It's not supposed to be sent out there. So people might just watch out for that, so that they don't end up putting screenshots of private conversation in group chats, putting them on Facebook and things like that. I mean, it's not right. It's definitely not right. And the person can sue you for breach of privacy. And in certain cases, you should watch what you put out, because your information might be matters which affect the security of the state. So if you have any information which you think that would affect the security of the state, or you compromise the security of the state, you must not disclose, or you must not let it out, because in doing that, you compromise the security of the state. So you may come across certain classified information and things like that. You are not allowed to publish it. You are not allowed to. So you just have to be careful what information you chance on. You're not allowed to publish people's bank balances, bank accounts, health records, people's personal conversations and things like that. You are not allowed to do that. Don't try to help a friend to get at another person by publishing those information. You'll be caught in the web.
Publishing people's health records, the law here is HIPAA, and you can't go against it. Every little thing you buy, by chance, you make a little mistake and you are doomed. HIPAA will come for you. So I've always been wondering, what do you think of this situation where people go to, let's say they go and do a donation in a prison, or they go to a special needs school and give things to the kids and take a group photo, and the kids' faces are all in the group photo? What do you think about that? Should they blur the faces out? Some say we are doing it to encourage others to be giving to the society, but did you seek their permission before putting their faces there, the prisoners or the special needs kids, or even a hospital, somebody had a burn in the hospital bed and their photo is up there because you went to give them some medication or food or drinks? What do you think?
Well, my personal opinion about these things is that you need to seek their consent. Because they are children, it is their guardians or people who are guarding them who have to say, okay, fine, maybe you can publish this or you cannot publish this. So I understand people when they think that they are doing that to encourage other people. But if your post, if your picture, if your video will put them in a bad light, then don't post. For example, you can't go and donate to children who are naked and decide to post it that, well, I'm donating to children who are naked, because you're not doing any good by posting naked children on social media or on the internet. So you need express consent. And I can even share this with you. I have a daughter, and I told the school that before you take pictures of my daughter or before you publish the pictures, you need to seek my express consent. Yes, because you just can't post. And for the school, maybe like, oh, these are our kids and we can just post. And when I said that, the proprietor of the school was like, wow, this is very interesting. And the next meeting we had with other parents, she made a request that are they allowed to post, and that we even include it in the admission requirements, so that parents can consent if you don't want your child to. And it was very interesting how parents came out with various, views about it, that if the picture being out there will make my child look ridiculed and stuff like that, then they don't want that one out. So it's just not about just publicizing and just going ahead to just post. It's very key. You need to seek people's consent before you post, because you might put the person in a bad light.
If they are not adults, I believe if they are not above 18, that means their guardian or their parents, you have to seek their consent before you do anything. Even in the doctor's office, people bring their kids in and they are obviously lower than 18. You need to seek the child's permission, even if the child is 1 year. You introduce yourself to that 1 year child and tell the child, I'm going to listen to your heart, or I'm going to look at your ears, I'm going to do something. And you ask the parents if it's okay to go ahead. And let's say you're asking a sensitive question. It's a female, let's say 14 years old or 15, and you want to ask her some private question. Is there any chance you are pregnant or something? Are you using protection? Are you on your birth control? You would have to seek the parent's consent and say that I have personal questions to ask your daughter. Do you mind if you want to maybe step outside to make the child comfortable? Some parents will say no, they want to be there. But the parents being there would compromise the child's response. She might be pregnant, but she can't say. She might be having sex, but she cannot say. She might not be taking her birth control anymore because she can't say because the mother is there. But you always need to seek the child's consent. Even though they're a child, you need to let them know what you're doing for them first before you even go ahead and touch them. Some request female doctors or male doctors, you need to follow all their personal requests on the person's chart. The very first day you call a doctor's office to sign up to be a patient, they'll ask you, do you want to be seeing a male doctor or do you want to be seeing a female doctor? And whatever you say is what they will grant you. So when you show up there on your file, you want a male doctor, and you show up there, you see a female, you have the right to work that female out. So I think I digress a little bit, but it's all about consent. Anything you want to do to somebody, you need to seek their consent or seek their parents or guardians' consent before you do something for them. Okay, that's my little addition.
Yeah, sure. Just like what you said, in this day and age, I see so many people post live videos, and they come on social media and insult and say all manner of things, and they later probably will see their folly, and they will come and apologize for all those things. It's key for people to understand that when you pick up this phone or you pick up your laptop or you pick up anything, you go onto the internet never forgets. So you would be judged just by what you've said, and you may even be implicating yourself in a crime you have committed before you give details about the thing that you have done, and you'll be in trouble. So people should just be careful when they hit their lives, or they want to go live or something of the sort. Just be careful. Just be very, very careful. And a friend says, a very good friend of mine says, you don't go and seek sympathy on social media. It's not a place you go and seek sympathy.
Social media, we have to be very careful how we use it, because by the time you realize you're in big trouble with somebody, you are doing your live and your phone is not just on you. I'm hiding in the corner somewhere. I don't want to be seen, but your camera is capturing me. Somebody can see me through your phone. Just like an instance where somebody's girlfriend says she's at home, but somebody was in the mall doing a live video, and this was a girlfriend hanging out in the mall. So you broke it. They caused a problem in somebody's relationship. They actually broke up because She appeared in somebody else's life. She had no
Yes.
idea. Yes.
So it's important for people to understand some of these things, just as I mentioned, and to give credit and to do some research before you come out to giving whatever you have to say, however you think you want to be approached. But let me quickly move on to what you must do when you think that somebody's infringing upon your rights. So one of the key things you can do if there's is an issue of criminality, somebody is publishing obscene materials, is to report to the police. So you try as much as possible to keep the number which is calling you or the one who is sending you the email, try to keep the email, keep evidence of that and forward the information, and be honest as possible with the police or the law enforcement agencies. Very, very honest, be clean, be open to them. If there's anything you have done that you think is also bad, let them know, so that it doesn't look or doesn't appear that you are the saint, because you may find yourself even in hot waters. So it's important to let the police know. Don't be afraid. Report to the police. That is key. That should be the first thing you should do. The next thing you should do is probably to talk to a lawyer. Now, in talking to a lawyer, you know your legal options and you know what steps to take to ensure that you are protected by law. For example, you can apply to the court to injunct the person from making any publications about you or saying anything or publishing anything or divulging any information. If the person ever does that, then the person will be slapped with some damages that the person will have to pay. So all these things are myriad of things that we have to be looking at when we are dealing with the use of the internet. And maybe let me just quickly add that your account or your phone is your personal property. Your laptop is your personal property. So please keep your passwords very safe and do not allow anybody to use your password for anything. And if anybody draws you into anything that suggests criminality, or has an element of criminality, has an element of dishonesty, flee. So,
with the password issues, someone will say, why should I not have access to my wife's phone or password or my husband's phone or password in times of emergency or accidents or something I need to call somebody? What do you think of that? Somebody can use their partner's phone to post.
Well, I think when it comes to spouses, there should be an agreement between you. In the first place, each spouse must understand that they don't have a right to the person's password. It's only a privilege. You don't have a right to your spouse's password or any other thing. It's just a privilege. And I think that before you do anything like that, you should be sure and you must understand your spouse and you should know the caliber of spouse that you have. If your spouse is one moment the person is haywire and jumps into the end, post anything or writes anything, then you must be careful about giving your password or anything like that. But as I said, it's a matter between spouses and spouses should evaluate it very well. And you must continue doing assessments. You may give the password today if you think the behavior has changed. You may later change it and tell the person, I'm sorry, I have to take off, I've changed the password and I prefer not you having my password. And it's important for you to communicate so that there's appropriate communication. So that people understand whatever is going on. In any case, you just cannot tell who may be doing anything criminal. Your spouse can also use your phone, can use your password, can use your account to commit an offense.
And I've been projected so much, but let's final one about what do you make of kids having access to phones? And at what age do you think it's reasonable for a child to have a social media account? Talking about this popular couple, Kim Kardashian and Kanye, they're always going back and forth on social media about how one of their kids is on a TikTok and he doesn't want it, and the woman thinks she should express her creativity, so the kid has a phone. Quick one about kids and phone and social media, how to handle that. Your opinion?
Well, one thing I say is that the world is growing very fast. And social media is in such a way that you can't control who is interacting with your kid. So if your kid should be on social media, it must be under your strict monitoring. It must be under your strict monitoring. And I don't think that a kid below the age of 12 years should even be on social media. No, should not be on social media. Provide another means because they get addicted. And once they get addicted, you know exactly what will happen if the kid get addicted. So whatever be the case, you must monitor. And I think some social media platforms have age limits. If the child has not gotten to that age, don't allow the person to get onto the social media, because it's getting to a point where if you're not careful, your child can even lead you into trouble, or the child will do something that will put you into trouble. In these days, we have children posting pictures of what their parents are going through, their parents' conversations and stuff like that. And it's your own child. What are you going to do? Are you going to sue? It becomes pretty difficult. So for me, I think that when you're dealing with children, use of the internet and all other things related to it, you should have maximum control whilst you give them a lot of education as to how to use social media for positive impacts.
If your kid is a creative child, maybe they're talented, having their own channel or their show or something, they should have their parents managing those accounts for them. Have a professional manager handle their page. They should have nothing to do with that page, because they don't know what they're doing. They are still kids anyway. So yeah, any more additions, please?
Yeah, I think I'll just generally that should sum up our discussions on the use of the internet, the legal aspects, and the do's and don'ts of that people need to walk through. So just a recap: data protection. You can't publish people's private information, health issues without their consent. You can't publish any information that get people's bank balance, people's personal conversations without their consent. And you do not have a right to your spouse's password. It's just a privilege. And whenever you do have such thing like that, make sure that you use it for the right purpose. And from time to time, spouses must evaluate how their partners are using their accounts or anything of that sort. And quickly also to add that once you are allowed some information, you are not allowed to publish it, you're not allowed to send it out. And with kids, you must monitor them, have absolute supervision on their use of any internet or media content.
Thank you very much, Andres, for gracing our show once again. You're the first person for this year. I know you're going to be back, definitely. I can always count on you. We've learned a lot today: social media use, the do's and don'ts, the legal aspects, and I'm very grateful to have you. Andres is on social media. He's on Facebook as Andres Adugu. He's a lawyer based in the Volta region of Ghana. And I am Priscilla Kumah, registered nurse based in US. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So